What? There's gonna be a new Fallout game? But Obsidian's not making it? Well, it might still be good. Let's talk about it. Now, I've been a fan of the Fallout series for a very, very long time. I've been enthralled with the company behind the original Fallout series, Interplay, all the way back since I was a kid. And to know that this series has continued going for years and years and years, even when we thought it wouldn't continue back after Fallout 3 originally got cancelled, you know, the whole Van Buren Project one, and we eventually got a whole new Fallout game that was created from the folks at Bethesda, needless to say, I was pretty excited when it came out, and once I played it, I was very happy. Now, my favorite Fallout game from the last recent generation of releases has been Fallout New Vegas. It's got the best story elements, it's got the best structure, and even though the other Fallout games are good in their own right, some lesser than others, Fallout New Vegas was my favorite. Now, I'm not too sure if everyone's been thinking about where the next game's gonna take place, but I've got a couple of ideas. The series of Fallout has gone to a couple of really interesting locations, like the area around Boston, Washington, D.C., and of course, Las Vegas. But the original series also took place in other locations like California that were also fun to explore, even though they were from an isometric perspective and not really from a 3D one. But regardless, I've got a couple of ideas for places that might be interesting for folks that are just trying to, you know, explore a new region of the Fallout universe, a place we've never really been to before. Now, in order of least interesting to most interesting, right at the very least, would be Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Now, I know this seems like a very basic idea because it's just a major city, but I think it would be an interesting place to explore in Fallout only because, well, we've never seen what happened in Canada in the Fallout universe. According to everything I've seen about Fallout from the past, Canada was annexed by the United States in the game universe. So to see what actually happened in Canada would actually be kind of interesting, honestly. I'd love to see exactly what happened to the political system there and how everyone evolved over time. And Canada is a very different place in the Fallout universe, so it might be very interesting to explore. Now, next up on the list would be England. All of the facts that we've seen from the Fallout universe have pretty much been focused totally within North America, and Fallout really does have this really specific feel of North American life and Americana in general. That whole retro future kind of feel and vibe is very distinct to that area, something that you'd have seen in 1950s science fiction of the time. But when it comes to England, there's a completely different ideology there and a very different world, and I would love to see that explored more in the universe. In fact, to be honest, I think there was a lot of elements of the Fallout universe talking about England where I believe they mentioned that a queen was still ruling at the time of the original war. So this would be something very cool to explore. Did the whole monarchy system stay in place? Honestly, that would be really cool to find out. And I think a lot of gamers out there would be really interested in exploring part of the universe they've largely ignored. Another place I'd like to see a Fallout game go is Texas. Texas is simply massive, and it's been mentioned in a bunch of other games that have been involved in the Fallout universe as well, because, well, it's kind of hard to avoid Texas, considering that it is a pretty big place. I'd love to see the evolution of Texas tech and all that other cool stuff, including a kind of exploration of Western ideals. Those really cool elements of what Texas is would be very cool to explore in the game, and I really feel that a lot of gamers out there would really love exploring that place. Plus, I think there's a lot of gamers out there that really want to go to Texas because to them, New Vegas is kind of a similar idea. There's a lot of desert areas in Texas and a whole lot of areas of that nature that kind of have this really cool backing and history to it. And to be able to explore that stuff in the Fallout universe will be really fun. And finally, my number one pick, the place I think every gamer out there desperately wants to go to, New York. I think New York would be the most ideal setting to start a new Fallout game in, mostly because New York is just crazy. It's a giant city, and to see something like that in this universe would be amazing. To explore skyscrapers and see a whole bunch of the area around New York, including New Jersey, it would be really fun to see that. And another thing that would be really cool as well on top of all of that is, well, New York is a melting pot. There are so many different cultures that kind of mixed in together there, and to see that exploration in the future would be fantastic. How did people survive after such a huge disastrous event? And to see how they kind of stick together to keep that New York spirit going would be amazing. I personally think that would be the number one place to go, but I know a lot of you out there have other places in mind. So tell me what you think would be a great place, and maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.